I'm not usually the paranormal activity type. Sure, I'd watch a horror movie with friends, scream and jump like everyone else, but deep down, I knew it was all fiction. Until a few weeks ago, that is. It started innocently enough. I was wandering around Greenwich Village, lost in that delightful labyrinth of vintage shops and quirky cafes. Tucked away on a forgotten corner, I stumbled upon a place called the Dusty Attic. The name was fitting. The windows were obscured by layers of grime, and peeling paint clung desperately to the warped wooden door. Curiosity piqued. I pushed open the door, a creak of protest echoing in the silent street. The shop was a treasure trove of the forgotten. Cobwebs draped dusty furniture, and chipped porcelain dolls stared at me with vacant eyes. In the dim light, my gaze fell upon a painting tucked away in a neglected corner. It was a portrait, a woman with long, flowing black hair and eyes filled with an unsettling sorrow. The most jarring detail, however, was the faint red mark on her throat. Like a cruel brushstroke across her pale skin, there was something undeniably captivating about the painting. Despite the sadness in her eyes, a strange beauty emanated from the canvas. Maybe it was the way the artist captured the soft light falling on her face, or the hint of a smile playing on her lips, a smile that never quite reached her eyes. Whatever it was, I knew I had to have it. The shop owner, a hunched old man with rheumy eyes, barely glanced at the painting when I asked the price. $10, he rasped, his voice like dry leaves rustling in the wind. Take it. It's been causing trouble anyway. Ignoring his cryptic comment, I bought the painting, feeling a strange sense of urgency. Back at my apartment, I hung it above the mantelpiece. Stepping back to admire it, a shiver ran down my spine. The woman's eyes seemed to follow me, her sorrow deepening. The red mark on her throat, barely discernible under the dim lighting before, now seemed more vivid, a faint crimson stain blooming against the pale skin. That night, the strange occurrences began. It started with small things, misplaced keys, books falling off shelves seemingly on their own. At first, I brushed it off, attributing it to my own clumsiness. But then came the whispers. They were faint at first, fleeting murmurs in the dead of night. I'd wake up with a jolt, convinced I heard a voice calling my name. The whispers grew more frequent, more insistent. They came from everywhere. The rustling of leaves outside my window, the creaking floorboards under my feet, even the hiss of the radiator. One particularly bad night, I was working on an assignment, headphones blasting music to drown out the unsettling silence. But the music couldn't drown out the chilling sensation that someone was watching me. I turned off the music, and in the sudden quiet, I heard it, a choked sob, emanating from the direction of the painting. Heart hammering in my chest, I approached the portrait. The woman's eyes were fixed on me, her sorrow morphing into a raw, pleading desperation. The red mark on her throat pulsed, a faint crimson glow radiating from it. Panic rising, I turned on the lights, the harsh brightness chasing away the shadows. But the red mark remained, brighter now, almost visible through the layers of paint. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. The whispers grew more insistent, morphing into words, a desperate plea for help. I scoured the internet, searching for the painting's origin. Days bled into nights, the apartment becoming a tomb of silence punctuated by the incessant whispers. Finally, I found a lead, a faded article detailing the disappearance of a young woman named Alara centuries ago. The article spoke of a famous painter, renowned for capturing the essence of his subjects in his portraits. Alara, supposedly the painter's muse, vanished without a trace. Rumors swirled of a foul play, a brutal murder hushed up by the wealthy artist. My blood ran cold as I stared at the portrait. Was this Alara, trapped within the canvas, seeking revenge on her killer? Determined to break the curse, I reached out to a local historian, a man with a reputation for delving into the city's forgotten past. He confirmed my fears. The portrait, he explained, was a conduit, a prison for Alara's restless spirit. The longer it remained in my possession, the stronger she would become, the more likely she was to break free and wreak havoc on the living world. Panic gnawed at me. The whispers had escalated, no longer pleas for help but chilling threats, the air thick with a malevolent energy. Every creak of the floorboard sounded like approaching footsteps. Every shadow seemed to hold a menacing presence. Desperate, I gathered the necessary items for the ritual: a silver chalice, blessed salt, and a copy of a dusty old grimoire the historian had procured. The ritual itself was a nerve-wracking affair. The historian, pale and sweating despite the cool night air, chanted in a language that felt both ancient and alien. As he uttered the final incantation, the room pulsed with a blinding light. The portrait, once a source of haunting beauty, now writhed in agony. Alara's face contorted in a chilling mask of rage, her screams echoing through the room. The red mark on her throat pulsated, glowing a malevolent crimson. Fear threatened to consume me, but the historian's grip on my arm, firm and reassuring, kept me rooted to the spot. The light intensified, bathing the room in an unearthly white glow. Alara's screams reached a fever pitch before abruptly cutting off. Silence descended, heavy and oppressive. We held our breaths, waiting for some sign, some indication whether the ritual had succeeded. Slowly, the light faded. I approached the portrait with trepidation. Alara's eyes were closed, her face serene for the first time since I'd brought the painting home. The red mark was gone, replaced by smooth, unblemished skin. A single tear rolled down her cheek, glinting in the dim light. Relief washed over me, so intense it left me trembling. We had done it, or so I hoped. The historian, however, didn't share my optimism. "This doesn't necessarily mean she's gone," he warned, his voice a low murmur. "She might be trapped within the canvas, unable to escape, but unable to harm anyone either." His words sent a shiver down my spine. The painting no longer held its strange allure. It was just a canvas, beautiful in a morbid way, but also a constant reminder of the horror I had barely escaped. I couldn't keep it hanging in my apartment, a chilling reminder of the spirit it held captive. The historian suggested contacting a museum specializing in the occult, a place where the painting could be studied and hopefully contained. The thought of letting it go was bittersweet. Despite the terror it inflicted, a part of me felt a flicker of sympathy for Alara, a young woman trapped in a canvas for centuries. A week later, the painting was gone, taken away by a team of somber-faced men from the museum. My apartment felt empty, a strange silence hanging in the air. The whispers had ceased. The unsettling feeling of being watched was gone. Yet, a part of me wondered, had I truly freed Alara, or had I simply condemned her to an even more eternal prison? Sleep remained elusive. Every creak of the floorboard, every flicker of light in the corner of my eye, sent a jolt of fear through me. The experience had irrevocably changed me. I no longer dismissed the whispers of the unknown, the stories of ghosts and haunting. Now, I knew they weren't just stories. They were chilling reminders of a world unseen, a world where the line between reality and the paranormal was terrifyingly thin. A month passed, and a semblance of normalcy returned to my life. Though the whispers were gone, their memory lingered, a chilling echo in the quiet corners of my mind. One evening, while preparing dinner, a knock on the door shattered the silence. My heart hammered against my ribs, a knee-jerk reaction to any unexpected noise. Wiping my hands on my apron, I cautiously approached the door. Peeking through the peephole, I saw a tall, gaunt woman with fiery red hair. Her eyes, a piercing blue, met mine through the distorted lens. Hesitantly, I cracked the door open. "Can I help you?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "Are you the one who purchased the Alara portrait?" She inquired, her voice deep and melodic. The air crackled with nervous energy. Every instinct screamed at me to slam the door shut, but something held me back. Maybe it was the way her eyes held a flicker of recognition, a strange familiarity that sent shivers down my spine. "Yes," I admitted reluctantly, "but it's gone now. Taken away by a museum." A ghost of a smile played on her lips. "I see. It seems Alara found a way to reach out after all." Panic welled up within me. "What do you mean?" I stammered. She stepped closer, her presence radiating an unsettling power. I am Anya, a descendant of the artist who painted Alara, she explained. The story goes that Alara wasn't murdered, but rather committed suicide after the artist, consumed by his obsession, refused to let her go. My mind reeled. Was this woman here to blame me for Alara's continued imprisonment? Or was there something else at play? The museum, Anya continued, a hint of desperation creeping into her voice. They don't understand the magic that binds Alara to the canvas. They can only contain her, not free her. My mind raced. Did I believe her? Was she just another eccentric drawn to the morbid allure of my story? But the urgency in her eyes, the way her plea mirrored Alara's own in the painting, tugged at a sliver of sympathy within me. What do you want me to do? I finally asked, the words escaping my lips before I could fully consider the consequences. Anya's smile widened, this time genuine. There's a ritual, an ancient one passed down through generations of my family. It could sever Alara's connection to the canvas, grant her true peace. The mention of another ritual sent chills down my spine. Yet, the thought of Alara trapped, her pleas unheard, gnawed at me. Taking a deep breath, I met Anya's gaze. All right, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Tell me what I need to do. Anya's smile faltered slightly, replaced by a flicker of concern. Are you sure? She asked, her voice softening. This won't be easy. It could be dangerous. I looked at the empty space above the mantelpiece, the spot where the portrait once hung. The whispers might be gone, but the memory of Alara's haunting presence lingered. I can't undo what's been done, I said, my voice firm. But maybe I can help find her a way out. Anya studied me for a long moment, her blue eyes seemingly peering into my soul. Then, with a slow nod, she began to speak. The words that flowed from her lips were a strange mix of Latin and an ancient tongue I didn't recognize. Anya explained the ritual required specific ingredients, rare herbs, a vial of blessed water, and a personal item that once belonged to Alara. Anya revealed her family had secretly procured a lock of Alara's hair years ago, a tangible link to her spirit. As for the blessed water, she suggested a secluded monastery known for its mystical practices. The herbs, well, those were a whole different story, a dangerous foray into the black market of the occult. Over the next few weeks, I found myself thrust into a world I never imagined existed. Anya became my reluctant guide, leading me through dusty antique shops and hidden alleyways in search of the elusive ingredients. The experience was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. Every success was met with a gnawing fear. Fear of discovery, fear of the unknown forces we were dealing with. Finally, on a stormy night, we stood before the imposing gates of the monastery. Armed with the gathered ingredients, we entered the hallowed halls, a sense of impending doom hanging heavy in the air. The ritual itself was an intricate dance of light, prayer, and chanting. As Anya uttered the final incantation, the air crackled with a raw energy, sending shivers down my spine. The monastery walls pulsed with a faint blue light, resonating with the power unleashed. Suddenly, a gust of wind ripped through the room, extinguishing the candles and plunging us into darkness. A shriek echoed through the chamber, a sound that sent a jolt of terror through me. It was Alara's voice, but filled with a chilling rage, a stark contrast to the desperate pleas of the painting. Panic clawed at my throat. Had we messed up? Had we unleashed something far worse than we could have imagined? Anya, her voice strained, chanted a series of calming verses. The blue light intensified, revealing a swirling vortex of energy in the center of the room. Within the vortex, a spectral figure materialized, taking the shape of Alara. Her eyes glowed with an unearthly fire, her face contorted in a mask of fury. Anya shouted, curling the vial of blessed water at the swirling vortex. It exploded in a shower of glittering light, momentarily blinding us. When my vision cleared, the figure of Alara was gone, replaced by a faint shimmering outline within the vortex. Anya continued chanting, her voice trembling slightly. I squeezed my eyes shut, concentrating on the image of the painting, the image of a serene Alara. Slowly, the outline within the vortex began to solidify, the shimmering light taking on the shape of the woman from the portrait. This Alara, however, was different. Her eyes were open, filled with a newfound peace, a touch of gratitude. As the flickering light subsided, Alara materialized fully, a radiant glow emanating from her spectral form. She turned to me, a gentle smile gracing her lips. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice a soft melody. "You have freed me from my prison." With a final bow, Alara faded, dissolving into a shower of sparkling light. The vortex sputtered and died, plunging the room back into darkness. Anya slumped against the wall, her breathing ragged. "It's over," she whispered, a note of relief tinged with exhaustion in her voice. Relief washed over me too, so intense it left me trembling. We had done it. We had freed Alara from the canvas and her spectral torment. The following days were spent recovering from the ordeal. Anya, ever resourceful, procured a plane ticket, sending me back home with a cryptic warning: the line between the living and the dead is thinner than you think. Back in my apartment, the silence no longer felt oppressive. It was a peaceful quiet, a stark contrast to the chilling whispers that had haunted me weeks ago. One night, as I drifted off to sleep, a dream came, vivid and clear. Alara stood before me, bathed in soft light. Her eyes held a warmth I hadn't seen before. "Thank you again," she whispered, her voice echoing in the dream. "You are brave and kind. May your life be filled with peace and light." And then she was gone, leaving behind a lingering feeling of serenity. Alara might be gone, but her memory remains, a constant reminder of the unseen forces that exist around us. The experience irrevocably changed me, leaving me with a newfound respect for the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of our understanding. The whispers might be gone, but the knowledge that I touched a world beyond lingers, a chilling reminder that some things are best left undisturbed.